When I bought my first camper van, I realised pretty quickly that owning a camper van meant I was going to need a fair few apps on my phone. And then when I bought a bigger camper van, I realised even quicker that I was going to need even more because I was travelling further and travelling for longer. I use Google Maps for creating custom maps with pinned locations that I'm going to visit on my trip, which works great on my laptop, but it just doesn't work the same on a phone. And then on my first trip to Norway, I realised that Google Maps just, well, didn't cut it really, but Apple Maps worked really well. So now I'm using Google Maps to plan the trip, Apple Maps to navigate on the road trip, but then I can't use Apple Maps to plan the trip because it doesn't let you do that kind of stuff. And then I can't really navigate on Google Maps because it doesn't work as well as Apple. I find services and park up locations. I use Park for Night, which work really well, apart from if I found a hidden gem. Because I had no way of telling what type of people I was going to share this beautiful hidden gem with, I rarely added any locations to the app. And then you've got all of the fake bad reviews left by locals who were trying to prevent campervans and motorhomes from visiting the area, and there's absolutely tons of them across the apps. To get inspiration, I'd sit and scroll through Instagram. But even then you can see people's vans, but you've got no way of knowing what the parts actually are unless they list them. And then you've got to try and find a decent community. But where do you even go for that? Maybe it's Facebook groups or something, but now you're on Facebook and you've got to deal with people putting pictures of the kids' first day at school. Oh, look at our Billy on his first day, isn't he gorgeous? Eventually, I just got fed up of having to use about 9 different apps to do the thing that really one app should be able to do. I mean, there's plenty of people with vans. Why is there not a Vanlife app? And I rang me best mate, my cousin, who just so happens to be a software dev, and I said to him, we need to make an app that literally does everything for people with camper vans because I'm sick of having to use about 9 different apps. And then he said, well, it can't be that hard. It might take a few months, but yeah, we should easily be able to do that. 2 years. That's how long it ended up taking. It turns out it is that hard. It's actually harder than that. But here we are, and here it is. The Vanlife app is live and available on the App Store now. There's a link to it in the description. Let's go over what's inside the app. To celebrate the launch of the camper app, we are giving away the NC500 Map Pack to the first 50 people that sign up using the link in the description. Once you've created your account using the link below, then follow the instructions that's also in this video's description on how to redeem the NC500 Map Pack. It's as simple as popping a code in, pressing redeem, and bang, it's in your app, ready to plan for a future trip up to the glorious northern section of the Scottish Highlands. So the first section of the app that I wanted to go through is my favourite part. It's quite a simple part, but it is key for me because what I wanted to build was something that becomes the home of your van. It's like a business card for your van. So when someone asks, what have you done to your van? What modifications have you got? This, that, and the other. Rather than trying to remember them all and telling them, you can just share a link which will take them to your van build. When you first create your account in Camper, it'll ask you to create a van build. Now this van build is just the basic one. So this is what anyone with the free account will show. And it's basically make, model, year of your van and the type of van that you've got. If you just stay on the Camper Free, this is what you'll be able to do. On Camper Plus, that's where the actual van build comes into it, which I'll show you in just a second. So inside the edit profile, you'll see your edit van profile. And here is where you create your van. So when it comes to adding pictures of your van, what I would suggest is just upload all the images, and then once you want to change the ones to interior, just press on where it says exterior and it will flick backwards and forwards between the two. That way you've got them two separated off. The equipment side itself, we've tried to include as many manufacturers as we can for everything. There will be some missing, so there is miscellaneous and you can add that in yourself. If you want to put like the wheel description, offset and size, you can do the tire size, your battery amp hour and inverter power. Your solar panels, we've put it into 50 watt categories or sections, and then obviously for the heating we've got different heating manufacturers in there. The additional modifications, what we've done is we've got 2 sort of columns. You've got your make and then your model. So as I've put in there, UEO tire table, essentially UEO is the manufacturer, tire table is the thing what I've got in there, and you can continuously add basically as many of these modifications as you wish. So with that saved, this is how the van profile will look. It's got all the images in there, it's got the equipment, it's got your modifications. Now the share van profile button, you click on that and it'll open up where you can share it across WhatsApp or Instagram or whatever app you want to do, and it's essentially sharing a link to your van profile, which when opened will open the same sort of profile in a website. So then anyone who hasn't got Camper can create an account on there if they want, but they can also see all the stuff that you've just spent all your time doing on the web. As an added bonus, this van profile build will be shown across the entire social side of the camper app. So whenever you've created a new topic or a new post in any of the communities that you're in, everyone in there will be able to see your advanced build profile with all the equipment that you've listed. Click on it and they'll be able to see your full van build, so you can proudly show off your pride and joy across the entire camper app. The location vault is the section of the app that you guys will feel a lot more familiar with, because it's very much like a lot of the other apps. We've just done it in a slightly different way. So to add a location to the map, it's as simple as clicking add location, fine tuning where you're placing it, place location, and then it'll ask what type of location it is. When it comes to reviewing these locations, I didn't want to do it in a subjective sense. So we've got accessibility, phone data and signal, ground level, cleanliness and condition, and traffic noise. And each one of these is scored between 1 and 5. When you press on any of the ratings, it'll explain what that rating means. And then the next part is visibility. And I really felt passionate about this, that we had to have an option so that you can keep these locations private, because you might just want to use this app to keep loads of locations that you love on a map that you can see easily. You might not want to share them with anyone, and that's fine. Or if you want to share them with people in groups that you know, you might have set up a group up for you and your friends that you're close with all of them, you know, you trust them, and they're not going to ruin these spots. Again, you should be able to share it with just them if that's what you want. Or if you're comfortable with it and it's a big spot that's pretty well known and you just want to put it on the map to help everyone else, you can put that as public and everyone will see it. Anywhere that we believe should already be shown as public will be defaulted to public, and you can't change that. So toilets, water fill up locations, paid overnight park ups with or without services, campsites, that kind of thing, they'll all be public. Finding a park up or services, a campsite or anything like that in this section of the app is just like most others. You zoom into an area, press search on this area, and whatever's in there will pop up. Again, it is a new app and we didn't want to flood it full of redundant places, so we're in the process of adding places as we find them, and we would highly encourage that you do the same. You will also notice on the map there's pins all over the place in different colours, and these are part of our map pack system. So we've got the essentials bundles available at the minute. We've got North of England, Lake District, Scottish mainland, Scottish Islands. We've also got an NC500 specific one there. You can buy these additionally. It's got photographs, it's got information, when's the best time to visit, parking locations and things like that, all in each individual one. And we also have the satellite view as default, and I know a lot of apps charge for this and we didn't want to, because really I can't judge whether I want to stay at an off-grid park up that I found on an app unless I can see from a satellite view whether there's anything in the area. There's also see this location button. If you press on that, it'll open it in Google Street View in that area straight away, so you're not having to sort of drag and drop pins. It does it for you, so at least you can see what the place looks like before you even bother trying to see whether it's worth staying there. So the trip planner was one of the first parts of Camper that we ever came up with, because I wanted to bring in my favorite parts of other apps into one specific thing, which helps us plan a road trip, navigate when I'm on the road trip, add checklists and other bits and bobs to just plan the entire trip from start to finish, even when I'm on the road trip, in one app, in one place. And that's what we've done. When you first plan a road trip, it'll ask you for a cover image. You can select from presets or upload your own, and name the date in which you're wanting to go on this road trip, as well as how many days the road trip is for. Once you're in there, you'll notice there's a checklist tab, so you can add the things you might want to remember before you leave or when you're on the road trip. There's the expenses, so you can add expenses to specific days or to the trip overall from different categories, so later down the line you can look back and reflect on how much you spend. That might not be a good thing though. And we're also building a dash further down the line which will display all this sort of information to give you a little bit more of a better idea of how much you're spending on average when you're on these road trips. So now I'll go into the trip planner map and I'll add a few stops to the first day. Once I've added a few on there, I'm just using the map packs that I've already got on my account. I can click on the top right corner and change it to day 2 and add some additional stops to day 2. When adding the stops, I would highly recommend, especially on a long trip, that you put in a custom name for each stop so you can remember them by what they are, rather than I'm just selecting in this example POI, which then means when I go onto my view trip so far, it just shows POI. Once you feel like you're kind of ready, just tick ready to go, and what that'll do is it'll now populate 2 boxes. Currently we use Apple and Google Maps for navigating. We will be adding Waze and TomTom and some others further down the line, but for the time being we're sticking with these 2. What we also wanted to do, because I use Apple Maps a lot with navigating, but then on my iPhone it's constantly on my phone, it does me head in, especially when I'm out walking around or I need to check my phone. So I normally close the map, which then means I would have to kind of delete the stops manually. So instead, if you go back to the app, and you tick off a few of the stops that you've done, it'll then only open the remaining stops that you haven't already ticked as complete. Since when I'm planning my road trips, I always overstretch. So what we've done is added the function that if you haven't ticked all your boxes for the things you want to do that day and you mark the day as complete, it'll ask you, do you want to add these remaining stops that you've missed to tomorrow's itinerary? If you click yes, it'll add them as the first stops of the next day. When you finish the road trip, you mark it as complete, which will take you to a different screen. You can add images, add additional notes, make sure all the expenses and checklists are done. And then at the very bottom of that, we have the privacy and visibility settings. There is 3 different visibility settings. Private, which means it's just for you and it will be shown on your app and only for you. You got by link, where you can share it with other people, or you can just have it as public. When it's public, anyone who visits your profile will be able to see this road trip, and they'll also be able to copy your road trip into their profile, into their trip planner, and then they can use your road trip as a starting point to plan their own. The final part of the app is our camper communities, and what we're aiming to achieve with this is to go back to how social media used to be. No algorithms, chronological order, and only from groups that you're actually part of. So how it works is you can create or join groups. Now these can be huge, enormous groups full of thousands of members all talking about one specific subject, or it can be a tiny group full of you and 3 or 4 friends, or 1 friend if that's what you want to do. And the biggest part of our communities is the ability to share your private locations with specific groups only. Nobody else will see them, just the groups that you choose to share them with, if that's what you choose to do. So if you've got some beautiful hidden gems and you've got a private group with 3 or 4 of your friends in and you only want to share it with them, tick it as sharing it with that specific group, and only the people in that group will get to see them. As part of launch, we also have some exclusive offers available on our website, which is also linked in the description. You can become a founder, where you massively back the project and you can help shape the future of camper. The early believer, where you get 2 years for the price of 1, or you can get a heavily discounted 1-year subscription to the app. And again, the links to that are all in the description. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope to see you all on the app, and I'll see you in the next one.